They took our intelligence and our knowledge for granted, so they could tell us any old story and expect us to accept and buy wholesale. But they have better news than that coming, you know. Because we are waiting and we are giving them the impression that yes, we do believe you until the day arrives for us to get that end. Where we gonna vote them out? 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 Where we gonna? I want to encourage you. I want to implore you. Be on guard. It is the duty of all Vincentians to clean up the work, put the country back together, and as one United States advance forward. Where we gonna vote them out? 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 Where we gonna get that X, that X, get that X, that X, get that X.
Okay.
Vote them out. Where we gonna get that X, that X. Vote them out. Where we gonna get that X, that X. This is how we going to do it, that X. We'll do the cleaning up, that X. And we bring all the casualties together, that X. It is the duty of all Vincentians, that X. That X. I want to implore you, vote them out. Where we gonna vote them out? Where we gonna vote them out? Where we gonna vote them out? Where we gonna? They took our intelligence and our knowledge for granted. They took our intelligence and our knowledge for granted. Vote them out.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Dick. Okie dokie kids, what's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin with the Council of Ministers press briefing. Today, we had the pleasure of having one minister, not two, not three, not four, not five, not all ministers, but one. And that minister is, of course, the one, the only, the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs. Now, of course, the question was asked to her during the Council of Ministers press briefing. What's her response to the King's apology to St. Martin? And she said the following.
This is interesting. I've been getting calls since the day it was made from Curacao journalists. This is the first journalist on St. Martin that has asked. And it's very interesting. They ask, how does the St. Martin people feel about the apology? And I can honestly say, I do not know how the St. Martin people feel about the apology. How do I feel about the apology? I can say. How does government feel about it? I also cannot say. As you know, after the apology of Mr. Rutte, we were asked to give our response. I gave my response. My response still stands. For me, for many people, it was important that the King apologized as well. And there was a lot of cheering that took place when that happened in the Netherlands. We did not broadcast it live, so we cannot see collectively how people may have reacted. We were at the time having our local emancipation celebration. I think for the persons who are interested, who demanded that the King also apologize, they got their apology. What for me was still missing was the discussion on reparations. What was interesting to me is the focus on how many, and in fact, highlighting the fact that many Dutch citizens are not aware of the true history of how they achieved the golden era that they were taught in school. And so I believe that there is at least a commitment in the government, including the King, to ensure that the Dutch people in the Netherlands and wherever they may be would understand, the indigenous European Dutch, would understand the true history as well, which for me would build true empathy to the plight of the descendants of the enslaved, which we are, whether we are in the Netherlands or whether we are here. For me, it is important what comes after the commas to ensure that in all our actions, so including our regular meetings, that the Dutch government keeps in mind the things that they have apologized for. And that we are treated with equality, and that the vestiges of colonialism that are still present are erased one by one. That when we, and I encourage my colleagues to highlight when you are in discussions with persons who do not realize that their approach or or the words that they use or the manner in which that they deal with the Dutch Caribbean countries is sometimes still condescending and sometimes still reminds us of our place, that how they saw us, basically, and they do not see it, that it was discriminatory. So what was reassuring is that even though some persons in the Netherlands didn't see the necessity for an apology, they believe in equality, they believe in equal human rights, and that we are all human, just as was intended by the Creator. And so hopefully in all future deliberations, in all future negotiations, that will be at the forefront, and the manner in which we're dealt with will be with respect and equitable, in a manner of equitable treatment.
Now, of course, the situation at Winair is still serious. Everybody's still upset that we have a Dutch CEO, somebody from the Netherlands, who is a CEO out of 30-something people from around the Caribbean, including St. Martin. So this was the Prime Minister's chance to set the record straight whether this government is for locals or against locals. So we are going to play a game, and today's game, we are going to just act as the coach, the advisor of the Prime Minister while she answers the question. Now, just to give you a little bit of backstory, last week she said you have to have a helicopter view, you have to be 30 years of experience on a job as a local is not enough for you to be the CEO of the company that you're working for 30 years. Crazy, right? Everybody was upset. Oh, this government is against locals, because she did make a statement, and that's when I did the video, and also I said for a school teacher who became Prime Minister of St. Martin, that was out of pocket. So this was her chance to come back. I'll be the coach. Okay, Silveria, if they ask you today, Silveria, please, silly, make sure you listen. Silly, listen to them, and then tell the people of St. Martin that your government loves locals and is 100% behind locals. Okay? You ready? So if they ask you a question about it, this is your time. All right, Silvira? Break. Go ahead. And then, of course, Bibi Hodgshaw from SMN News asked the following question.
Just last week, I believe, Winair announced, and there were photos sent to the media with the new ATR that they acquired. What I'd like to know is if the new CEO would consider the local pilots for the captaining of this aircraft, or are they going to recruit foreign pilots, as I'm told?
First of all, I think congratulations are in order for Winair, because as we know, airlift within the Dutch Caribbean has been, or within the Caribbean has been limited. So this increases opportunities for us to be able to travel to areas that would take sometimes overnighting in different countries, such as Aruba and so on. So we're very happy that the ATRs are finally here. Government supports the purchase of them. There has been training ongoing for local stewardesses, etc. And as long as our local pilots are qualified, right now we have Twin Otter, mainly Twin Otters that have been flying.
Okay, that's enough, Silveria. That's enough. Stop. That's enough. Stick to the script. That's enough. Okay?
I do not know off the top of my head how many of our pilots have trained to fly the ATR, but of course it is the goal for us to ensure that locals can hold all functions within our government-owned companies. So that would be the goal. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, it was in a government event, but I highlighted the achievements of a young St. Martin who's working at KLM as a mechanical engineer. So we sometimes limit ourselves to what we can do and if we have pilots already out there in the diaspora, I encourage you, apply to be a pilot by Winair. We can't force people to apply.
Silveria, silly, stop. Silly, stop.
But I will find out from the management of Winair who are the first sets of pilots, but they did assure me in our last meeting that we held that all of the pilots are continuously trained and upgraded, and they have a great track record, and they will continue to ensure that our pilots are the first to be hired. They also offer training to persons and are in direct contact with persons who are studying pilots to ensure that when they come back, they can hire them. So that is, I think, good news for the people of St. Martin to hear. And we do 100% support our locals, and I encourage you all to continue to upgrade yourselves. Education is a lifelong journey. It's not an end destination. Things constantly change in the world, and if you want to progress, you have to ensure to upgrade yourselves. And all government-owned companies received in writing that they must put policies in place to ensure growth of our local workforce to achieve the highest possible levels within the companies.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacob. Stephen, you have the final question.
Sorry, and I did not respond to whether I responded to the King. No, I did not send a response to the King. That was also not required. Remember, even with our professional from the Reparations Committee of CARICOM mentioned that the highest member of state, the representative of the state, which was the Prime Minister's apology, was deemed sufficient. Others demanded, and the King himself felt the need to add his apology to it. He said it touched his heart. He understands that his family has benefited, and he will continue to do the research as to how much, insofar, etc. And we look forward to hearing what the reparations will be. That is still the stance of St. Martin for sure, regardless of not having a final decision or recommendation from the AXAR committee. We 100% believe that reparations must be paid, and though we acknowledge that now we have more access to funding via the Dutch government that wasn't there before, not even up to last year, that does not equate reparations.
Okay, so this government is the most confused ever. So you're qualified. You upgrade yourself. It's a life learning thing. However, we want you to come back, but we're going to take candidates from other countries over you. But we love local people, and we're 100% behind local people. We just only put all local people in places. However, if somebody else, and I don't know you, then you don't have the helicopter view in order to have the qualifications to be part of the job that we advertise. I'm so confused. Silly ain't listen to me at all. Welcome to the Late Night Show. We have a good one for you. We're going to take you back to 2019, when two ministers were facing a motion of no confidence.
Bearers of Broken Walls wishes to inform the public of the upcoming Global Prayer Conference, which will be held under the theme On the Walls of Society and Intercessors, with persons attending from all around the world, featuring the speakers Apostle Moses Rankin from the UK, Apostle Dr. Oral Hazel from St. Thomas, our very own Apostle Dr. Napolina Richardson. Enjoy a night of praise with Pastor Kurt Richardson. This event will be held at the Bel Air Community Center. Tickets are only $100 per person. Tickets are now available at the Family Bookstore, Radio Maranatha, your local churches and committee members. Tickets are limited, so hurry, hurry, hurry. It's time for the Global Prayer Conference in July.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.
Know your place. Don't lock me up. Don't lock me up. Know your place. Don't lock me up. Don't lock me up. Know your place. Don't lock me up. Don't lock me up. Know your place. Don't lock me up. I know my place. Do
into the celebration. You see that pop locking? Prime Minister. Prime Minister doing it. She doing it. All right. Welcome to the late night show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. Your boy Andrew Dick is here. Oh, sorry. Where's my manners? Hello, audience. Fake audience. It's like the best. All right. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Of course, the motion of no confidence against two sitting ministers of the Council of Ministers was read out and voted on today. And what is the verdict? The verdict is it has been rejected officially. The vote was 7-7. So 7 members of the coalition, 7 members of the opposition. Because it's an individual minister and not the Council of Ministers, and it's 2 individual ministers, the vote, when they can't come to, when it's on a deadlock, it automatically rejects it. So Leona Romeo Marlin, safe! Stuart A. Johnson, safe. Yeah, sorry, I need to stop that. I need to behave. Anyway, so what's going to happen now is that nada. But the interesting situation is, and this is where the coalition, I think, didn't understand that when you poke the bear, like you're poking the opposition that you will need just now for your budget, and you didn't give him 1 minister, you didn't give him nothing, and then now when the budget come around and they vote against the budget and it's 7-7, it will be rejected, and then we would have another set of problems. So you stop the childish games, start to talk, and let's get the country going. I mean, 40 members of parliament, we well could come up to some type of understanding for now, just so that we can get things rolling. Now, what was interesting during the meeting today, at the parliament meeting, was the workers of the airport were sitting there, and while they were sitting there, they was like watching the opposition like vexed. They was upset. Reason why they was upset is because apparently the Prime Minister let the workers believe that the meeting was about them deciding on whether they're going to pay the salaries for the airport. Because the airport, as you know, or if you don't know, let me tell you, airport run out of money. They have until the end of February to make payroll, and they have no money, none, zip, zero. Now, apparently, the Prime Minister was making it sound that, the meeting that they have in Parliament had to do with whether they decide to get some type of financial assistance to the airport so that they can pay salaries. The thing is, it wasn't about that. It was about the 100 million aid that was supposed to come from Holland and XYZ. And then during the meeting, they proposed a motion of no confidence. 2 motions of no confidence. One against Stuart Johnson, next one against Leona Romeo Marlin. So fast forward to today, it was rejected. And then bam, done. The thing is, my lovely people, is that with the coalition voting for these ministers means that they have confidence in them. So you can't complain for the next coming term. For the rest of the term, you can't complain about them anymore because you voted against the motion of no confidence because you're saying you have confidence in them. What I can't wait for is Stuart Johnson's situation with the staffer. It got a bit more interesting this time because Fernando Thomas, the police officer home right now, apparently he received a letter from the receiver's office. And what does the receiver office say? The receiver office says, "Dear Mr. Thomas, due to not completing your trip with the Honorable Minister Stuart A. Johnson during your time in Europe last year, you need to repay back the country St. Martin 4, 5, 6, 7, I can't remember, but a big amount of guilders, thousands of guilders. If he does not pay it within, I think, 30 days, 15 days, 20 days, they will take legal action against Mr. Thomas. I have so much questions, and I don't know what to say about it, but this is very interesting, and I will be following up on this because this minister doesn't have balls anymore. This minister have cojones. Why he has cojones is because the man just like, let me be careful here because I don't want to go court. Okay. You allegedly sexually harassed the man. He said no. After he said no, you fired him. Okay. So you fired him. He doesn't work for you anymore. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, months after, you need to pay back. Like, You know what? Your highlight for this meeting. Let's take a look.
Madam Chair, I will commence by stating that I can only smile when I take notice of the last-minute attempts to defame me. But I will state that I am confident that he who has begun a great work in me will carry it through completion. Today it is evident that I am not the only one that recognizes the importance of finalizing the financing agreement for the airport. The WICSU, PSU, and ABVO unions have come together and are appealing to the Council of Ministers, Parliament, the Supervisory and Management Board of the airport to secure the funding for the reconstruction of the airport. I quote, "Now is not the time for party politics and self-interest. The ripple effect this vote of non-confidence will have on our members and our fragile economy, which is currently struggling to strengthen, is profound." End of quote. The SHTA has also shared their views on this matter, Madam Chair. From their press release, it reads, "St. Martin cannot afford at this time the disruption of government that would result from the adoption of the motions of no confidence. Let's together focus on the interests of St. Martin and expedite the refinancing and repair of our airport, the gateway to St. Martin." After hearing the cries of the opposition, I've come to realize that it was naive of me to think that the opposition would actually read and listen to the information that the government has provided to Parliament on this very important matter. While I have started to lose my hope in the opposition, I remain fully confident that the people of St. Martin will see through the smoke screen that has been created.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the Minister of TIAT, to the Director of the CEO of the airport, I heard you mention that we need Dutch assistance for a CFO and HR support, which is quite troubling because, according to me, there was never a Dutch CFO or a HR support. So don't we have anybody in St. Martin that can fill these positions? Because I was going through the Facebook of the study financing department, and I saw this one has a master's in financial management, and most of those children went to school with me or before me or after me. So it's quite troubling, and many with HR as well. So my question to you for clarification is, can you clarify, did you check in St. Martin, or was any vacancy put out? Because I saw that it is quick to say we need the CFO support from the Netherlands and the HR support from the Netherlands.
The statement of the minister where she keeps referring to the opposition about the guarantee. Madam Chair, she refers to the opposition. I would like to ask, is MP Heiliger a part of the opposition? Because I can confirm the records will show that he, in this parliament, also expressed concerns about the lack of a guarantee. So I would like some clarification about the opposition want a guarantee and it's unrealistic, because that is not an accurate statement, and I want some clarification on that. Madam Chair, I would also like to understand She mentioned about the term of reference needing to be finalized with the notary, and it's such it is not final. Later on in the presentation, she said they are the conditions are subject to change, but in the original first round, Madam Chair, the Prime Minister stated that she's aware of all of the conditions. I need clarification on this, Madam Chair. Which is the answer? Because now I have 3 different answers, and I need to understand which is the truth.
But as members of what is continued to be said here as the opposition, I did not ask for the people's vote to be labeled as such. I am a representative of the people of St. Martin, and it is our task as members of Parliament to hold the government accountable. It is the job of a government to execute its policies and to come to Parliament to answer to the accountability that is part of their task.
Another clarification I would like, Madam Chair, is if this calm thinks the airport is that important and so important, that why then give a loan to the airport under $100 million and not give the $50 million as a grant, like you received it, and then give, even if you want to increase the interest rate on the other $50 million to the airport, so give two separate loans, which would benefit them a lot more than giving interest on $100 million. If you do the calculations, it's a lot more in the interest. It's a lot more beneficial in the interest of the airport than the loan that is currently on the table for the airport.
Madam Chair, it's not a coincidence that having faced a motion of no confidence, finally, after 8 months and 12 days was the first time the minister finally attended a committee meeting of TIAT, which I had the pleasure to chair, and the competence of the minister was on display as members of the committee were very keen in expressing. Madam Chair, I believe that the minister is one of the biggest threats to our tourism products and economy. From a government perspective, it is the biggest no-brainer vote I will ever have in this Parliament, Madam Chair. I vote for.
7 for the motion and 7 against the motion. This motion is not carried.
I would like to tell the airport workers, the unions, SHTA, and the entire population of St. Martin, today I vote to secure the future of the airport and your livelihoods. I definitely do not believe St. Martin post-Irma can handle any more instability. With that in mind, Madam Chair Lady, as a representative of SMCP in Parliament, I vote against.
The motion does not have a majority for a decision of Parliament, and thus this motion, motion number 2 of Prime Minister Leona Marlin, is hereby rejected. Motion rejected.
Anyway, so we'll lay the issue to rest. Let's wait to see what's going to happen. And yeah, we still have a government, so now everything is fine, right? So now the government is going to make sure that the airport is good, right? Because there's no motion of confidence no more. Everybody is good. Everybody is fine. This is it. So, opposition, shut the hell up and let government work. Let the government work. Drinks on our airport workers at the end of this month. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Late Night Show with Andrew Dick. Thank you so much for watching. Let's begin the show. We're going out with Leona dancing, doing the... Yeah. Leona, let me go. That is it for the Late Night Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. Bye-bye.